What's up, everybody? It's me, R3D2, and today we're going through another Empire War mod tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how to create your own Galactic Conquest scenario in Empire War Forces of Corruption. Now, before we get into this, I warn you, this is a fairly time-consuming tutorial. It may take quite a while, but believe it or not, it actually doesn't take as many programs as something else would, like adding a new unit. You need the DAT editor and the XML files for the game. That's pretty much it. Basically, you have to install this basically how you would a mod, which is, so basically we have to create a new folder and we're just going to call this new GC. Now remember, whatever you do, do not put spaces between these, because if you do, it won't read the mod folder. So it has to be one word. Okay, then create a new folder in here and call it data, new folder, and call it text, and then you put the text folder inside of the data folder. Now you need the master text file for the game, which if you guys have watched my previous videos, you know to get the master text file, you go to Open File Location on your Forces of Corruption game, go to Data, Text, and then copy it into your text folder for your mod, and paste. Okay, and the file is pretty much all set up. Now you just got to drag the XMLs in there, and that's it. That's literally all you have to do to set up the file. So you go to data and you go to the XML files. So if you guys don't know what XML files are for Empire at War, it's basically where all the main files are stored for the game. This is like so you need to go to the campaign's underworld GC. This is where you need to be. So basically, this is where all the campaigns are stored. Like you see gateways, and every campaign is slightly different. Like you see, I know you guys do that, but see, we have underworld versions. So basically, this is the version you play in the underworld, and then there's just all this campaign. This is huge. Now we're going to use gateways as our template because it's simpler to just do that. You just so copy this, copy all of this. Make sure you see gateways. This says gateways rebel. Copy that as well, and go down to where it says, and then copy gateways empire, and then stop right about there where it says equal footing, and just copy this, and then just go scroll all the way to the bottom so you can separate yours from the rest of the mod, and then paste them there. Okay, so now this is how the campaign is going to work. So we have gateways empire, rebel is up here, and then underworld is at the very top. So first thing you need to do is name your Galactic Conquest, which naming it, we're just going to name it tutorial. So the name of the campaign is Sandbox Gateways Underworld. We just need to change that from gateways to tutorial. Then the campaign set. This basically groups the campaigns together. It groups the campaigns together. So basically, it knows that they're all the same campaign. The only thing that's changing is the faction involved. So, okay, so that's finished. Now, this basically tells it what order the campaigns will show up. Is like in the selection area. This, it's like basically, if you want them to be in order, then you can go through and change all that if you want to. We're just going to leave it the way it is. So basically, if it's the same number, it won't cause a crash. Actually, what it will do is it will put this in the order that it reads them in the file. So basically, this is going to put directly under gateways in the selection box. Okay, so text campaign symbol. This is the name of the campaign. This is where you need this is where you need the DAT editor. So just go to you open the DAT editor, click File, Open, and then go to wherever you're creating your mod. Basically, on the desktop, we go to, oh crud, didn't mean to do that. New GC, data, text, no, not XML, crud, text, master text file. Then you open the master text file. Then you go to Edit, Insert String, and then now, we're just going to name this text campaign single tut, like as in to abbreviate tutorial. Then paste and just put in. Now again, it doesn't matter what you put in here as long as the name matches the one in the XML file, you'll be good. Now the description, this basically tells you about the planets. You can change that if you want to, but I'm not going to save time for this tutorial. Okay, so these are the planets. Basically, what planets are active in the GC. Now, we're only going to do 3 planets for the sake of simplicity. So, the 3 planets that we're going to do, we have to make them close together. We don't have to. It's just making them close together works. So we have Bis. We're going to do Bis, Coruscant, and Anaxes. Okay. So just remove every other planet except for Bis, Coruscant, and Anaxes. Also, do not remove this. This is the background. As far as the game files are concerned, this is a planet, but it's not actually a planet. It's just the background, which do not remove it, or otherwise, I don't know what it'll do. Just don't remove it. Okay, just remove Karita. And now just remove everything else. So you should have Anaxes, Bis, and Coruscant separated by commas. Remove the comma on the last one. Okay, so these are the trade routes. You know what the trade routes are the lines that connect the different planets. Um, remove everything that does not reference everything. Remove everything but that's not this. So basically, Bis, Coruscant, keep that, and Typhera, Polis Typhera, remove that. Alzok 3, Karita, remove that. Mandalore Utapau, Bespin Bis. You don't have to do that because it's not Bis. Bespin is not part of it. Arbigato Ray, Jabim, Tatooine. Okay, just remove all these. Bothawi Tatooine, Bathawi Bis. Do not just remove all this. Anaxes Coruscant. Okay, so those are the two. Just remove the comma at the end and remove it. Okay, so this you pretty much done here. You have all the planets and the trade routes coded. That's pretty much it. And home location. This is basically where the heroes will spawn. Which actually you have to change this eventually. So anyway, so okay. Yeah, anyway, basically this is like where the heroes respawn or like the central location of your faction. I don't think this matters too much, but you need to make it a planet that actually exists in the GC. So we're going to put the rebels, I'm going to put them on Bis. The Empire will have Coruscant, and the Underworld can have Anaxes. Okay, so this is done. Now, starting active player, this is the player that you're playing this as. The story plots, this is, you just leave this the way it is. I'll show you how to change this later in a later video if you guys want to see that. This is more complicated than most. This is not very complicated, but I'm not going to put it in this tutorial because you can just leave it the way it is. For this is the AI player control for the different AI factions. Just leave this the way it is. Victory conditions, you can change these if you want to, but I wouldn't recommend it. Supports custom settings. This basically lets you choose your basically if you can change your starting credits and stuff. We're just gonna leave that at true. The completed tab, basically what the completed tab does, it shows you if you've completed any missions in the campaign. But since we're not going to be scripting this at all, we're just going to leave this leave this blank. Now, special case production plan is basically this is where you can build cantinas and hut palaces. We don't even care about this really, but we're just gonna remove this because no one really cares about the cantinas and hut palaces, especially for this. This is just a tiny GC that no one really cares about. It's only the 3 planets. And now rebel starting forces. This basically tells it what to give the rebels at the very beginning of the game. Make sure you do not have stuff set in this for a planet that does not exist, otherwise it will crash the game. It will crash the game. So we're just going to convert the Hoth into Bis, or no, and yeah, Bis. So just basically just change all the planet, just place the planet name. We're just going to copy and paste, replace Hoth with Bis. Good. Now just remove everything else. Now remove all the rest of the rebel stuff. Make sure you don't delete the Empire stuff because that's important. Empire starting forces, just pretty much just leave that where it is. Change this to they should already have a Coruscant code in here. Here we go, Coruscant's code in here. This is not balanced at all. This is just for the sake of the tutorial. So Empire, just leave that the way it is. Remove Bis. Just remove this. Okay, now the Underworld, they start on Anaxes, so just copy and paste Anaxes. Okay, and then just remove all the other starting forces. Just remove everything else. And make sure you don't remove this. This basically tells it that this campaign is over. That's just basically tells it. Okay, so we've completely changed this, but now we have to basically repeat this process over the Rebel and Imperial versions. No, oh, yeah, the Rebel Imperial versions. But it should be easy now because we can just copy and paste. So just remove this. Just remove that. Just play tutorial campaign set, sandbox, tutorial, underworld. Sort order, leave that same. Text campaign. Tut. Tut. Now, basically, scroll back up here and just sort of just copy the trade routes and planets and just highlight the locations and trade routes and just paste what you have from up there. Home location, just change that back to the planets that the Empire and Rebels control. And axes. Starting active player, leave that the way it is. Just AI control, leave that the way it is. Remove the cantinas and hut palaces. Rebel starting forces. Now we can just copy and paste the starting forces we've already created for this. And you can go through here and change the starting forces. It doesn't have to be this. You can change it, like you could give them level 5 star bases instead of levels they have. But make sure you're not giving them something higher than the planet they have can support. Like if you give a planet that can only have a level 2 space station, a level 5 space station, it could cause problems. I'm not sure if that would crash the game, but it probably would bring unpleasant consequences. Okay, so we've done that. Now Empire, just do the same thing. Just replace sandbox tutorial Empire, sandbox tutorial underworld for the game, for the campaign set. Okay, locations, just repaste the locations, and you can go ahead and just copy the home locations thing too. Just home locations and just paste this over it. Starting active player, leave all this. Remove the cantinas and hut palaces production area. Rebel starting forces, now just copy and paste the starting forces again. Oh, we need to remove this. Okay, make sure you don't accidentally do that because that can ruin it. That'll crash it. That could crash the game or bring about unpleasant consequences at least. And paste, and we are done coding. That's it. It's literally done. Now save it, and now make sure you save the DAT file as well. Save. Now just close all this. Now go to your mods folder in Forces of Corruption, which open file location, then the mods folder, and then just drag the new GC in there. Then use your Empire or however you launch the file, just launch it and find a new GC, play mod. Now I have it windowed, so I have it on the windowed mode, so it's just going to be like a window like this, but you can change that in the mod launcher options. This is not referenced anyway. Wait, so single player, Galactic Conquest, and tutorial. See, we have tutorial here. Empire, let's just be the Empire and start the game. As you can see, it worked exactly like I told you it would. Basically, it tells it that the planets are here. Those are the planets that you're going to use. You can change the starting forces if you want to, or it's entirely up to you. And it might not be balanced at all. I don't think it's balanced at all. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and basically the way you that you do this more, the way you fix this is, or add new planets, is literally what you have to do is you go to campaigns underworld GC, scroll all the way down. All you have to do is just add the planet name in here, connect any trade routes if you want to, and then add starting forces to it. And you actually don't even have to add starting forces. If you just put the planet in there, then it won't. If you just put the planet in there, it'll just be in there. Like let's just do this. Like core lag. We have core log. Now we're just going to just paste this into the locations of every single one. Make sure the last one does not have a comma, but the rest of them do have commas. Otherwise, I don't know what'll happen, but if you want to run the risk, you can, but I doubt you should. Now you just save it, and then we load it up again. So I didn't put any starting forces for core lag, but you don't have to put starting forces, and then the planet will just be completely neutral. Basically, the planet will just exist, and you can just go to it if you want to, but you don't have to. It's just there, like tutorial. See, there's a new planet over there. There's going to be, let's just be the Rebellion, and start game. Then core lag. See, as you can see, there's absolutely nothing here. Oh, wait, the rebels, the Empire just took it. But yeah, you get the idea. It's
invasion commencing. System conquered.
You get the idea. That's pretty much all you have to do to create a custom GC. It's fairly easy, and it's just time consuming, especially when you want to make one of the bigger GCs. I've made quite a few custom Galactic Conquests and some mods for private use, and I can tell you it does take a long time, but it's not as hard as most people would think, and it's just time consuming. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you guys are able to make your own Galactic Conquests now, and I'll see you guys later.